And now the next project. I was going to start digging it out. It's behind that stack of tires and under that stuff there. And it's what we call Mr. Bolens. Mr. Bolens has been living back there for a while. And I think we need to get him out, see if we can revive him to pull Teresa's chariot. Now, would love to run the old garden mark that used to belong to my son, but it just is not gonna have the oomph. It runs good and everything, but it's just not, it's not the same caliber as the old cast iron Positrack Bolens. So I said I was going to, and I'd convinced myself. I left the family dinner because I was going to. Well, it's starting to rain outside. So as soon as I put everything up, it will stop. Guarantee you. But it won't hurt my feelings to put the clipper in here. Everything's covered up. And just go sit down and rest for a little bit, period. On a funny note, as I was leaving, Mom stood up, gave me a hug, and she said, well, now what are you gonna do that you don't have any, you're done with that, you don't have anything left to do? And I just laughed, and I said, you have no idea the list of things that's in my head that needs to be done, period. Yeah. So, till next time. So this is Mr. Bolens. And the story on this old Bolens is a guy I worked with, an elderly gentleman who was a tool and die maker, owned this for decades and took really good care of it. Still has a lot of the original decals and stuff on it. But he was getting older and he was nearing retirement. And his position in the company was such that he had to be there all the time, but a lot of times he didn't have a lot of work to do. So he decided to start rebuilding this. And he rebuilt the carburetor, he tore apart the starter generator, put new brushes, bearings, things like that. He put a new head gasket on it. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, he reground the valves. The mower deck. Now, the mower deck is where he did a lot of work. So this is the only one in the world that has a special set of gears. And so this is PTO drive, shaft underneath. And he said he always thought the blades should spin faster. He didn't like having to mow real slow. And so when he took it apart, he measured inside this casting, and he found out there was room enough to put a larger diameter gear. But nobody had anything like that. So they custom made the gears for this and hardened them. There's new shafts. There's new shafts for the spindles, new bearings, all that. Had it completely stripped, painted, so that it would spin the blades faster at a given RPM. So this is the only one like it in the world. Before he officially retired, him and his wife decided they wanted to move down to the lake and sell their house. And this was something that was in the garage, along with the Bolens. And he didn't really feel he had a use for it anymore, and he knew I was into the old stuff. So he had me come over one day and told me, bring a trailer, he'd make me a good deal on it. So he showed me all the parts, told me what he had done to it, and then he asked, kind of sheepishly, would you give me $200 for it? And I said, hell yeah. The work done on that deck alone is worth $200. And he was a nice old guy. I say was. He's still around. He is a nice old guy. And he would always help me out. So, and he was just, pleasant to work with. So I forked out $200 without a hesitation. That's been a few years ago, and I'm going to try to get this thing running. I tried one time before, and the engine would run with an electric motor pulling it. But as soon as I took the belt loose, it would slowly die down. And I was trying to adjust the carburetor and everything. Finally got a little frustrated, put it back in the garage. And probably a week and a half later, it's 1 a.m. I'm laying there having trouble sleeping. And the thought popped into my head, wait a minute. He said he ground the valves. So I think the valves never got readjusted. So that's going to be the first thing I look at. But right now, I just needed to get it out of the garage. So when I put that in and some of the other stuff, this is not buried, and I can literally work on it easily.